Welcome to a nourishing Welcome to Spokane Talks Live. Kent Adams here today. I hope you're having a great day. 63 degrees outside, not quite the 86 or 89 or whatever it was yesterday. We're going to be doing quite an interesting full-packed show today. But let's take a moment and think about what this weekend is. And with that in mind, I've asked former wing commander, Colonel Brian Newberry, to be here and to give us a moment of thought. And also you are the executive director of Leadership Spokane. So you just continue to provide leadership to young folks, right?
Thank you, Kent, very much for having me on today. Yes, Memorial Day is an important day for all of us to stand back for a moment as we get ready to celebrate summer. Just stand back and thank you, all the service members over the generations who have given our lives for this country. We enjoy our families, we love our families, but we also as Americans cherish that word freedom. And it is those who've given their lives, most never even knew us, who have done the ultimate sacrifice. And so, yes, this weekend, I hope, particularly on Monday, if you can attend a ceremony, there's many throughout the local area, you at least stand back and say thank you to all those who gave our lives. I will say that it actually has been a very challenging year over the last year for us as a country in losing many service members. Yes. I don't have the exact numbers, but we have engaged in major combat operations on many fronts, including now in Syria, and we've lost, I would just guess, up to 24 service members. In the last month alone, there was 1 week where we lost 4 in just 1 week, including a SEAL. So we need to remember them. You know that several years ago, 4 years ago, in fact, last May 2013, we lost 3 service members out at Fairchild Air Force Base in an airplane crash. And for me, Memorial Day is a day to say their names: Captain Tyler Voss, Captain Tori Pickney, Tech Sergeant Trey Mackey. And when we do that, when we memorialize them, we will never, never, ever forget them. And this is such a patriotic and outstanding community. We just had the Lilac Parade this weekend where we honored our military. So Memorial Day, please stand back. Thank those who gave their lives so that we can enjoy freedom. And I'll just close with you with paraphrasing Abraham Lincoln, who gave the iconic Gettysburg Address, where he said, "We'll little remember, the world will little note what we say here today, but we should never, ever forget what they did here." And that's what we need to do, is remember all that they did to make our country free. Thank you, Kent.
For the Inland Northwest's most comprehensive sports report, think outside the porch with Spokesman.com. For just 99 cents for the first month, you'll enjoy unlimited digital access to the news and sports news that affect you most. From EWU to WSU, from Northwest Preps all the way to the Seahawks, we're the local authority that makes sports in the Inland Northwest different than the rest, better than the rest. On your phone, on your desktop, and on your tablet. Subscribe to the digital experience with Spokesman.com.
My name is Randy James. I'm the founder and director of the Institute of Science and Technology at North Central High School. Kids are far more capable than we ever give them credit. We have $1 million worth of equipment, and we let them use it. You give them a place to play and do science for real. Instead of having to outsource engineers and scientists and mathematicians, we have kids right here. It takes a whole community to raise children. It really does. STCU invests in the community, and they're a longtime supporter of education. Collectively, we can make a huge difference. I'm Randy James, and STCU is here for good.
You hear us say it.
We are tracking breaking news in Spokane County where firefighters...
We're talking exclusive.
I want to be the survivor and someone that reaches out and helps other people.
These stories you'll only see here.
My family say because he is off the streets.
This interview.
What is it like being a teenager nowadays?
This investigation. This moment for the first time.
I hope our apartment doesn't burn down.
We don't just cover breaking news, we own it.
Pretty scared, thought we weren't going to make it through.
KHQ Local News, right now.
Welcome back to Spokane Talks Live, and it's a Wednesday, the 24th of May. I'm not sure exactly where the month has gone, because it's a busy month in Spokane with lilac parades and everything else going on. We have as a guest here, Jonathan, I'm going to hopefully get this right, Mallahan?
Yeah.
Oh, I was close, right?
That's
okay.
great.
Close counts in horseshoes and doing TV. Jonathan, there has been a lot of headlines in discussion recently about the blessings under the bridge issue. And people are up in arms. What's going on? No, it makes sense because it's a nuisance. I mean, all kinds of sides. And honestly, I don't know what's going on. So I'm glad you're here from the city. That's your responsibility, among others, with serving the vulnerable population here in Spokane. So would you kind of give us a little history and then what's actually happening?
Yeah, there's a lot beyond those headlines, and I guess I'd just start out with the value statement that the city has a responsibility to serve all of our citizens, even those who experience homelessness. And so we care about their safety and well-being, and we invest over $13 million annually for permanent supportive housing and supportive services that help move them into situations that are much more safe than living on the streets of Spokane.
Yes.
So we really want to accomplish that vision, and we really recognize that we need partners, excellent partners like Blessings Under the Bridge to get there. In this case, we have asked Blessings to work with us to move to a new location to provide their really amazing services. We've allocated grant funding to do that so that we have a smooth transition. And as we have those conversations, really keep in mind, at the end of the day, we need to be serving and focused on the people who are suffering on the streets.
Because the need does not go away.
No, it does not. So as you've probably heard a little bit about the city setting up a 24-hour-a-day, 7-day-a-week shelter and prioritizing that so people have a safe place to be. One of the things that really we're considering is the secondary impacts of homelessness on the downtown environment. And those could be, when you're homeless, it is very unsafe to be homeless. I learned yesterday one of our local...
and they're actually the most vulnerable, aren't
absolutely.
they? I mean, really.
92% of women who experience homelessness in Spokane have also experienced sexual assault.
Wow.
That is a scary number.
That's terrible.
And that's because we don't have a safe place for them to be indoors. And so we need to solve that.
Wow, I didn't realize. Never realized it was that high. Yeah.
So what we're hoping to do is to work with Blessings to find a location where they can not have some of the impacts on the surrounding neighborhood. And I'll tell you, for years I was working with businesses there saying, hey, we need to provide service. We need to make sure that people are fed, and so let's work on mitigating some of those impacts of those events. What's changed and why the city took this step was two things. One, when a school district starts saying, hey, this is challenging our opportunity to provide an educational environment for our students, then you have competing public goods, service to the vulnerable, and public education. The second thing that changed is actually some case law at the district court level that says, if the city, essentially the city is creating a legal perception by our lease with Blessings that is an okay place for people to be week long. So 7 days a week, we
not
are
just
not
for that period of time.
Exactly. Blessings has done a lot to make sure that they're picking up garbage, they're talking to the people they serve, saying, hey, be good neighbors.
When they're there.
Absolutely.
However, they're only there for a short period of time.
That's exactly
and they're
right.
24 hours a day times 7 days.
And we have a responsibility for that space week round, and I think Blessings understands that, and their heart's in the right place. We have a common goal to serve people effectively. I'm optimistic we'll come to some agreement here, but I do want to the distinguishing between Blessings and other organizations that do similar activities is the city has a lease with them for space that we manage on behalf of the state, and that's what really creates the crux of this challenge. If it's in the public right-of-way, the city is not here to say, you can't help out your neighbors who are in need in public spaces. Please do. I mean, but in this case, we're creating unintended consequences week round by that lease.
In the private sector, we often talk about that attractive nuisance.
Yeah.
You call people in and then something happens and then whose fault is it? Well, it's kind of your fault because you really encouraged and enabled folks to come in and do that. And you can't be out there 24 hours every day monitoring what's going on. The school district shouldn't have to go out and other businesses nearby. There are other businesses, right? I mean, the current site is where the old skate park was, underneath the bridge, right?
Correct, yeah.
Okay.
There are some businesses around there, and some of them have expressed concerns about that, and we've worked with Blessings and those businesses for years to say, okay, well, here's what we can do about that.
Right.
It really was public education expressing concern, and then the impacts that started to develop 7 days a week that we realized we're not creating a safe environment for the people who are living there 7 days a week.
Well, that's true.
We need to do something here, and this is one piece of that broader effort to create a safe place for people to be.
Wow. So what are you looking at in terms of sites and so forth? But maybe, I don't know if you want to name locations, but are there other opportunities around?
Yeah, the one we've made public at this point, we're working with Blessings. They're looking at some sites. We're looking at some sites. The one we've talked about publicly is the partnership, that opportunity with Catholic Charities at the House of Charity there. They serve 300 people a day.
There's that whole block that in the parking lot and so forth that might work, huh?
Absolutely. And Catholic Charities is another great partner, and they're willing to have conversations with Blessings to say, hey, how can we make sure that you can continue your excellent service and work at a facility that we've already invested a lot of money into providing that service. So it could be something we're pursuing.
And they have the kitchen and other kinds of things there too that may be helpful.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So we'd love to get to an outcome where Blessings can continue to connect people with the challenge of homelessness and make a difference in people's lives.
Now, the House of Charity has had some financial challenges, trying to be open 24 hours a day and all of that. Where is that right now?
So we're working. The city remains to our goal is to have a 24/7 shelter system in Spokane, and we put about $750,000 into that this year. We knew going into that House of Charity did not have funding to stay open year round, but they had funding to stay open through the coldest months.
Right.
So we were unable to get other funding partners to the table to make that sustainable. We're still working with other public funders to have that conversation, and I believe we're going to get to an outcome where we can say, we can fund sustainably a safe place for people to be.
Well, clearly the hardest time of year are cold months. I mean, when it's weather like this, it's not quite so bad, although it'll get cooler tonight. But I mean, that's not like being 10 degrees out and snowing and so forth. And then you really start to feel sorry for the vulnerable and so forth. The whole issue I've noted, I saw the study the other day, the homeless numbers are up a little bit. How are we doing in Spokane with the whole homeless issue?
Yeah, it's a great question. So we took a tour of the mayor, the DSP president, the council president. We went to Boise and Salt Lake City and Portland to say, how are we doing compared to these other cities that are doing some pretty innovative things?
Right.
What we walked away realizing is Spokane is way ahead of the curve through implementing an integrated intake system to optimize how we treat people's
instead of people doing separate things, there's some coordination.
We require everyone to work together, just like we're asking Blessings to work together with other folks. And so we did here, we're far ahead on those systemic changes in our homeless system. Where we have opportunity is we need more private and foundation investment to solve this problem in Spokane. The public funders cannot do this alone. So we need to continue, and Blessings does this so well, bring those corporate partners in to say, how can we solve this problem as a community? So we've got some opportunity for improvement there.
Yeah, and sometimes the biggest support comes from the private sector.
Absolutely.
To really support what's going on in what I would call the public sector, the nonprofit sector as well. Jonathan, thank you for bringing us up to date on this fascinating, and keep us posted, will you? Okay?
Thank you.
When you're ready to make some announcements, come back.
Thank you very much. I appreciate the opportunity to speak today.
All right, great. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be back right after this. Have a good day.
See you tomorrow night, and thanks again for taking care of the painting.
I got this.
Bye.
Weekends are made for painting. Let the experts at Rada Paint take care of you.
Hi. This looks amazing.
Rada Paint, over 80 years of quality, tradition, and trust. Find it in every can.
Hi, this is Kent Adams, co-host of Business Talks. I'd like to introduce you to a couple of friends, Lisa and Alan Gwaltney of Window World. I've known Lisa and Alan for a number of years and know them to be honest and caring folks. They take pride in their windows, sliding doors, and blinds. So when it comes to your home, call them direct at 509-456-5880. That's Window World of Spokane and Coeur d'Alene. And if you tell them Kent sent me, they'll give you 5% off a 5-window installation. Call them today at 456-5880.
Hi, this is Tom Sawyer of Tom Sawyer Country Coffee, and we're very excited to start our first year at our new location just on the north side of Kendall Yards. Come and enjoy a great cup of coffee and see the display of coffee memorabilia dating back to the 1800s. Or pick up a pound of our freshly roasted coffees to make at home. We're open Monday through Saturday starting March 5th, or find us at TomSawyerCountryCoffee.com. Come watch us perk up when you walk in.
Welcome back to Spokane Talks Live. Kent Adams here. Still 63 degrees out there, Steve? All right. Would you work on that? We want it just a little bit warmer, kind of like the 65 to 70 range, I think would be just about, although I'm not wearing a heavy coat outside either. Hey, well, welcome back. We try to do this. In fact, this is the third year in a row I think we've done this, where we talk about a special opportunity this weekend, and that's to have a Civil War reenactment out at, is it still going to be out at the Deep Creek? All right, okay. And we have Mike Inman, Robin Black, okay, and Mike?
Inman.
Inman, okay, related, huh? All right, good. How old are you?
5.
5, okay. You're past the 4 stage where you put up numbers. I asked someone last week or 2 weeks ago, and they said, I'm 4. I mean, I guess at 5 you don't have to put your hand up anymore.
Yeah.
So, well, great. Hey, tell us about what is this about, and why do you guys get in uniform and go out and do all of this? Because that's quite a job.
Basically, now I'll let Robin talk about her side of it too.
Sure.
Is we've been doing this about 20 years now in Spokane, and a lot of people can't get back east and see a Civil War reenactment where they occurred.
Right.
Now, there was no Civil War out here, although we had soldiers from the 4th Infantry up at Fort Colville, 4th Infantry, that went back for the Civil War, but there wasn't anything fought out here.
Right.
So we bring it out here so people locally can see it.
Yeah, and live
and
it,
feel it,
and
and
walk
hear
it,
it,
and smell it as you're walking through and so forth.
Yes.
Robin, what's your role in all of this?
My role.
May I ask you? Whoops! I'm going to ask you. We need a towel out here. I just spilled coffee. You're going to be doing what on this weekend?
I am with 1st Michigan Light Artillery.
Okay.
So I am corporal of the cannon.
Okay.
So I get to yell commands at all the soldiers on the cannon, telling them when and how to load the said cannon.
Okay.
And basically for me, this is educating the public on our history.
Have you done this before?
Yes, this is my 3rd year.
3rd year, okay. So the same role every year?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, we brought Robin because it's a family-oriented club.
Yes.
As you can see with little Mike here too, and over 400 women snuck into the Civil War that they know of.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Now, were they dressed as men?
As men.
Okay, because
they were kicked out as soon as they were discovered.
This hair would not be acceptable.
Oh, okay. Well, today, but I see a lot of guys with hair that long. So, all right. Walk through what the opportunities are for people to when they go out to Deep Creek this weekend. Is it all 3 days, 2 days?
Saturday,
Okay.
Sunday, and Monday, and they can find all the schedule on the website. That's a Spokane Civil War reenactment.
Okay.
The Battle of Deep Creek.
Okay.
And they can get everything that we'll briefly go over here. And it goes from 9 to 5 on Saturday and Sunday, and from 8:30 to 2 on Monday, with 2 battles a day. And there'll be demonstrations, medical, artillery, cavalry, infantry demonstrations throughout the day. And there'll be talks in the pavilion. And one thing we tried new last year, we're going to do again this year, Sunday night.
I was going to ask about that.
Lantern tour.
Yes. How did that go last year?
Fabulous.
Okay.
We
Explain to people what that is.
What we do during the day when you come out to the reenactments, like with Robin on the cannon and so forth, we will be interacting with the public.
Okay.
But during the lantern tour, we take the public back like in a time warp, and we don't recognize them. It's like we're ghosts. There's a little rip in time, so
They're
to
just
speak.
there watching, not asking questions.
Right, and we don't even see them. And so
okay.
like with the medical, we're going to be dealing with medical problems in the dark, and there's an artillery demonstration. And
wow.
In fact, it's growing immensely because last year we expected we had 10 people signed up.
Yeah.
We ended up with, I mean, what was it, like 80?
Oh, Lord.
Oh,
yeah.
Because
they found out when they got there.
Yeah, it was phenomenal.
Yeah. Now, you don't cut off legs or anything live out there at night, do you?
We get as gory as they want. I tell, in the medical, I'll let Robin explain the artillery, but in the medical.
We've all seen the movie with Kevin Costner at the beginning, right? Chopping off feet and everything else.
I tell people, unless I can get at least somebody to pass out, throw up, or walk away, we haven't put on a good show.
Oh, Lord, you really want the real thing, don't you?
We have the fake blood, and we have some very talented moulage people that, we can make it as realistic as possible.
Robin, what are some of the questions during the day that people will ask you and so forth?
Oh, we get some funny ones.
Oh, yeah?
Such as, who won the Civil War?
Oh, yeah.
We've had that question before.
Have you really?
Yeah, and then why the color difference in your uniforms?
You mean between the South and the...
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, goodness.
You probably never gotten it, but I've been asked more than once if I was actually a Civil War veteran.
Oh, yes. Yeah, you mentioned that last year. Yeah.
And then we always, of course, get, are these uniforms you're wearing actually from the Civil War?
Okay. All right.
No, they're not.
No, you had to make them.
No, the reproductions, we get them from different sutlers and people.
Ah, okay. Okay.
Some people they count their stitches and they actually make their own uniforms.
Oh, wow.
Some do.
Yes.
Some do. Yeah, you got other things to do than just do that. Stitch
Yep.
by stitch by stitch.
Yep.
Yeah. Wow. I think that's exciting. How many people will come out on the weekend?
We have a couple of thousand.
Really?
From public that'll come out, and reenactors, there's about anywhere from 200 to 400. We have 700 in the club.
In the area here.
But, yeah, well, in fact, Spokane has in the entire state of Washington, has the largest per capita reenactors of any county in the state. We have reenactors in our group in Idaho, Montana, Oregon, British Columbia.
Wow. What's the cost?
It's $10 per person to get in.
Okay.
Military, active duty military are free. I got my notes right here.
Yeah.
Too.
Yeah, they're wet from my spilling the coffee.
No, they're fine. It's $25 for a whole family. So if there's a large family, it only costs $25, and 18 and up half pay to get in, and
under that?
Youths 13 to 17 are $5, and anybody that's 12 or under is free.
Best education that we can get, and it worries me that people are asking the questions that you just mentioned. And one last question. We see now in Louisiana and other places tearing down statues because we want to rewrite history or whatever. Thoughts?
There was it was in 1905, and I can't remember his name right now, but Winston Churchill said it as well. If we ignore or forget history, we're doomed to repeat it.
Yeah.
And so it's,
to me, there's a lesson by pointing at it and talking about what it was and what it meant.
Yeah, we can't bury our head in the sand because of what happened in our past.
It did happen.
We need to know the history, the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Yes. And we're not a perfect nation. We're not a perfect people, and we've had to work at it. We're continuing to work at it. But let's not try to hide history.
The United States, our American Civil War was the only Civil War where we actually held a free election during the war.
Oh, wow.
When Lincoln got his second term.
Yes.
And it pretty much created what the United States is today.
Yeah.
And I tell people that 3.5 million soldiers fought for 3.5 million different reasons.
Yeah.
And every flag, including the Confederate battle flag, they're all American flags technically.
Yeah.
But it's just some people
have I know.
subverted it. And I tell people, don't look at the Civil War in 21st century mentality.
Yes. Well,
understand what those people were going through.
I often point out the fact that if you look at what the newspapers said during World War II about the Japs bombing Pearl Harbor and so forth, you wouldn't dare say those kinds of things today, but that's what it was then. Not perfect, but it was how we expressed ourselves at that time. And so, anyway, thank you both, all three of you. Time for a nap here, right?
Yeah.
Are you gonna? Yeah. Are you gonna participate this weekend too?
Yeah.
Okay, good. All right. You looking forward to it?
My dad was glad I'm not in the war.
Yeah.
Too young to be in the war, huh?
Yeah, I gotta be
You have to be 12 in order to carry a weapon on the battlefield.
Oh,
yeah, you gotta be 12 to fight.
You got 7 years to go, kid. All right, thanks. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be back right after this.
Last year alone, Avista customers saved over 53 million kilowatt hours of energy. Enough to power more than 4,000 homes for an entire year. Way to save, everyone. Way to save. Find your way to save at avistautilities.com.
If you need a sign, banner, or business cards for your business, who do you call? Hi, this is Kent Adams.
And Tom MacArthur from Business Talks. Kent and I call Instant Sign Factory for our signs, banners, business cards, and more.
Dave at Instant Sign Factory is our go-to guy for printing, and he always does excellent work for us.
Check them out online. They've got an all-new website, InstantSignFactory.com.
Tell them Kent and Tom from Business Talks sent you. Instant Sign Factory.
You hear us say it.
We are tracking breaking news in Spokane County where firefighters...
We're talking exclusive.
I want to be the survivor and someone that reaches out and helps other people.
These stories you'll only see here.
My family say because he is off the streets.
This interview.
What is it like being a teenager nowadays?
This investigation. This moment for the first time.
I hope our apartment doesn't burn down.
We don't just cover breaking news, we own it.
Pretty scared, thought we weren't going to make it through.
KHQ Local News, right now.
Welcome back to Spokane Talks Live, and I've got a special introduction today. We're very fortunate at Spokane Talks to have a couple of interns, and one of our interns is Holly Matz.
Yes.
Did I get it right?
Yeah, you did.
I just call you Holly, and I realize
I know.
as I'm saying that, I don't say the last name ever. You
It's
know?
Matz.
At least I've gone from Molly, which I
You-
called you
you
at the
did
very
call me,
beginning
yeah,
because
that's
when I
fine.
printed out the email, the ink didn't do it all, and it looked like it was an M, not an H.
Mm-hmm.
And so, Holly, you're with Eastern Washington University.
Yes.
What year are you in?
I'm a senior.
I
know.
Out into the brave world next year.
We'll see how I do.
Yeah. Hey, we have as our guest today Kari Allen from Camp Journey. Heidi. Have I called you Heidi before?
You just called me Heidi.
Yeah.
I was like, did he just call me Heidi?
Holly. Okay. Welcome to Live. Can we start over? No, I'm just kidding. Holly, can you talk about and do a little bit of an introduction of what we're going to discuss today and where we're going and everything?
Yes, so fortunately at EWU in our PR department, we have taken on a client, Kari. Well, not just Kari, but Camp Journey, which is basically a camp for kids with cancer and I believe in remission as well.
Yes.
It's a nonprofit organization, and we have kind of taken it on to try to get some donors and some volunteers and to help with their social media, things like that. So, so can you explain to us a little bit what is Camp Journey?
So Camp Journey at Ross Point is a medically supervised camp. So it's a camp for kids with cancer on or off treatment. And they can bring a sibling or a buddy. Are we doing okay?
Yeah, I'm just going to ask you to move a little closer to the mic.
Closer to the mic.
So we can get.
There we go.
Okay.
That's good.
All right. Well, I'm glad you messed her name up. So
Yeah.
at least that's,
You feel very comfortable now, don't you?
I do. Thank you.
I did that just for you, Kari.
So it's an opportunity for these kids to spend a week in the outdoors, just kind of participating in what would be a typical camp. And what's different about ours is we have oncology doctors and nurses and trained volunteers there all week so that their medical needs can be taken care of also.
That is so cool. And they don't pay anything for this, right?
Camp is free, and it's ages 5 to 17. So
Okay.
we have a day camp for 5 to 7-year-olds. That's 4 days, and then a resident camp, and then a leader in training for our 16 and 17-year-olds.
That is so cool.
Summer camp was my favorite thing growing up. I just loved to go to summer camp, and then when I kind of reached a point where I was a little too old to go to the cabins and so forth, and then I checked into being a CIT counselor in training and those kinds of things, and then I just any excuse to go to camp and have some fun.
Right? And don't a lot of your campers who end up growing out of it come back and be counselors?
Yes, it is volunteer. So last year we had about 10 volunteers that had been past campers and went through our leader in training program. And our ages of volunteers are 18 to almost 80 years old. So you could come to our camp.
I noticed you looked at me when you got to the close to 80. You looked at me right away.
No.
Yeah, Within 9 years of 80, okay. Yeah.
But what is fun about that, because I think traditionally the camps that we grew up in were college-age kids, which we have a lot of, but we have that varying age in volunteers that seemed odd to me when I first went, but I absolutely love it. It becomes this great family, and we rely on the young people for their energy, and the young people rely on us for our wisdom. So it works out really well.
No, you're absolutely true. Way back in my YMCA days when we did camping 40-some years ago, we often had the senior in high school and the kids, to me it's kids, in college and so forth. And we often had at the boys' camps dads and so forth that would come. And you're right. It helped not only the campers, but also the other counselors and so forth. There was a chance to be with older adults that weren't your parents as counselors, you know. And there was that, you learned something. Both sides, all sides really learned that. So when is this held?
This year, the first week of August, but it actually starts, I want to say July 31st to August 5th. So this year, it's kind of the end of July into that first week of August.
Right. Now, where do you hold this?
And it's at Ross Point, which is in Post Falls along the river.
Yes, okay. All right.
Yeah, and your campers come from a pretty diverse...
They do. The campers come from eastern Washington, northern Idaho, western Montana, and northeastern Oregon, and that comes out of Children's Hospital in Spokane. So that's where, if a child has cancer, they tend to come to our hospital in Spokane because the outlying areas do not have the oncology for pediatric oncology.
Wow. Yeah. That's great. We have about a minute left. Let's give the final where people can learn more information. You're always looking for some funds, I assume.
We are, yes. We're doing a big push trying to get our name out there, and we are always looking for funds. We're starting a new program here in the next week called Fund a Camper. So we're going to have those brochures. You can go to rosspoint.org/camp journey to get more information, to get donations. We have a couple of fundraisers coming up. So the Old Spaghetti Factory, the day after Memorial Day, is doing a fundraiser for us. And then Orlison Brewing Company, the day after that, it's...
on the 30th is the Old Spaghetti Factory. And
do you need reservations or anything, or you just show up?
Yes, reservations, and then you print the flyer out from online, and we'll have somebody in the lobby giving out flyers.
Do you know anyone that works there?
I don't, no.
It's a great place. I can't wait.
I've gone 3 times in the last couple of months while she's been with us, and she's never been working there that night.
Wow. We also, the Spokane Empire Football on June 30th is doing a night for us. So we're very excited, and this has all been through the help of these Eastern students. So we can't thank them enough to
they're good
help
people.
us. They are good people.
Well, at least most of them. No, they all are great. We have actually 2 students from Eastern helping us with as interns, and we have had probably about 3 or 4 before that over the last 2 years. Great students, always been so helpful. We'll see if that continues. I'm just giving her a bad time. Holly's been great, and we appreciate you. Thank you. I want to say that right now. Yes. And once again, the website, because that's where it all happens,
and
right?
And that is rosspoint.org/camp journey.
All right, great. Thank you for coming.
Well, thank you
This
so
is
much
a great thing that you're doing, and to support these young folks. That's always important. Thank you. We'll take a quick break. We'll be back right after this.
I'm Barbara Mueller.
And I'm Marty Mueller. We have gotten some amazing opportunities to design and build IMAX cameras that were going to go on the space station. We came up with a mechanism that we poured a year into, and we had to start over. The failure resulted in a camera that we got an Academy Award for.
The first shot, when you see Earth from our camera, there is no other moment like it.
Wouldn't have happened without that failure.
So how do you give a kid or even an adult the skills to go forward? The only alternative is to teach them to think, to teach them to explore, take risks, and know that they're going to fall, and they're going to fall on their next great idea.
Gizmo's a makerspace, which is a community laboratory for education and fun.
The cooperation amongst people is the most important thing that we have. And STCU is doing that, and I hope that we're doing that too.
STCU.
Here for good.
Snoring can disrupt marriages and cause serious health problems. Call Sleep Better Northwest first, the experts in dental sleep medicine. Their medically approved, custom-fit oral appliances will have both you and your partner sleeping better and being more productive throughout your day. Don't wait. Snoring and sleep apnea can signal potential strokes or heart attacks. For more information, visit needbettersleepnow.com and download our health guide today. Sleep Better Northwest, the experts in dental sleep medicine.
See you tomorrow night, and thanks again for taking care of the painting.
I got this.
Bye.
Weekends are made for painting. Let the experts at Rada Paint take care of you.
Hi. This looks amazing.
Rada Paint, over 80 years of quality, tradition, and trust. Find it in every can.
Welcome back to Spokane Talks Live, and we did not do an exchange student thing here with Holly and Kari for our next guest because she's outside or coming. And so I want to ask one more quick question, and Holly, you may have a question. How many campers are we talking about at Camp Journey?
Last summer, we had 126 campers.
That's a lot.
Yeah, that is a lot.
And probably about 60% are cancer kids because they can bring a buddy or sibling.
Okay, I was going to say, and I've seen that in other cancer camps and camps like that across the country where often other family members will come. What do the other family and brothers and sisters get out of this?
Well, what they get to do is meet another sibling, and they get to know other
Share
siblings,
experiences.
and they get to share what it's like to have this sibling that's been
because
so
it
sick.
does affect everybody in the
Absolutely.
family.
Yeah.
And sometimes the siblings are the ones that are often left out because you're focusing on the one with cancer, rightfully so. I understand that. But let's face it, in family dynamics, you've got one sick child or a struggling child, and the others can get put to the back seat.
Well, and it's a bonding time for, whoever friend or, they're not in the hospital. They get to go outside and have fun. What kind of activities do they have there?
So we do the typical camp activities. There's swimming, archery, boating. We have a wall they climb, arts and crafts. So just outdoor stuff. So it looks like your basic camp. But what you find is that these kids with their illness have become so connected to their family and their parents. It can be hard for them. Parents too, to let their
separate
child go.
a little bit,
So they do, what the parents tell us is they come back a little bit independent, which is very nice.
Yes.
Obviously being able to meet other kids going through it. We may have children on treatment, but others who are past treatment, and that's encouraging to the child who's on treatment. They can talk about
they get to
what
talk to
they're
their
going through.
peers versus just the doctor or the nurse
Or
who's
their
going
mom
to
and
give
dad.
them the line, if you will. You know what I
Right.
mean? And someone who's experienced that, which is
And
really important.
the doctors and nurses love it because they're getting to see these kids in a camp environment instead of the hospital environment. So really our care cabin is the least, they just stop in there for what they need and then they move on, which just really helps them forget about what's going on.
Well, and they bond. Do you know
They do. The
kids that...
sibling, what is nice, sibling and cancer kiddo go home with this same experience. So they have that to talk about.
Yes.
And parents, on the same line, they get a break for a week. So it may be there's another sibling at home that they can spend more time with.
And we can't minimize the importance to parents to have a breather.
Right.
Okay? As a parent with a disabled child who's now 47, so he's not a child anymore.
Okay.
But to think about the respite care, the chance to breathe, if you will, because, the 17-year-old is still like an 9-year-old with Down syndrome and so forth, and there's always the watching and so forth. And I imagine there's that constant vigil of watching their child go through this and always worried and everything that goes with that, and to know that their kids are up at a camp with the doctors and medical people and so forth, that really is satisfying and a relief, I would assume.
It does give them a break, exactly.
Okay.
So it's a win-win.
Okay, take some pictures this summer and come back and let's talk, okay?
I will. Yeah.
Because I think that, and maybe we bring in a camper.
That would be great.
After the experience, because I think that would be good too. Because you and I and Holly, I almost said Heidi.
You did.
We can talk about the experience, but I'd love to hear from a camper.
Perfect.
Because
I'll
that's
set
where
that up.
that's where it's
Yes,
at.
one of my
Okay.
classmates is actually an old camper.
All right.
And she's awesome.
she's now a volunteer.
She is now a volunteer. She's the one that brought the project to the
Great,
school.
great.
So.
Well, let's get her in too.
Yeah,
Okay.
she's awesome.
Great.
Well,
thank you
so
very much. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be back with Don Morgan and a friend right after this. He has a friend. I know. That's news.
For the Inland Northwest most comprehensive sports report, think outside the porch with Spokesman.com. For just 99 cents for the first month, you'll enjoy unlimited digital access to the news and sports news that affect you most. From EWU to WSU, from Northwest Preps all the way to the Seahawks, we're the local authority that makes sports in the Inland Northwest different than the rest, better than the rest. On your phone, on your desktop, and on your tablet. Subscribe to the digital experience with Spokesman.com.
Hi, this is Kent Adams, co-host of Business Talks. I'd like to introduce you to a couple of friends, Lisa and Alan Gwaltney of Window World. I've known Lisa and Alan for a number of years and know them to be honest and caring folks. They take pride in their windows, sliding doors, and blinds. So when it comes to your home, call them direct at 509-456-5880. That's Window World of Spokane and Coeur d'Alene. And if you tell them Kent sent me, they'll give you 5% off a 5-window installation. Call them today at 456-5880.
Last year alone, Avista customers saved over 53 million kilowatt hours of energy, reducing carbon emissions by more than 18,000 tons. Way to save, everyone. Way to save. Find your way to save at avistautilities.com.
Welcome back to Spokane Talks Live, and we're going to do a special segment. Usually as we get toward the end of the program, we have Ryan McNeese and McNeese Wheeler in here to do some things. We told him to go fly a kite. I think the weather's perfect for that, yes. And Don Morgan, who usually does the cleanup here on Spokane Talks online, and you should have been here earlier when I spilled the coffee because that would have been very appropriate for cleanup.
Yeah.
Welcome to live video, right? Don, you have a visitor with you today, Jan Stuart. How are you?
I'm doing great, thank you.
All right. How long have you known Don?
About 2 years.
About 2 years. We'll have a moment of prayer. No, just kidding. I've known
and
Don.
I like him a lot.
Yeah. And you still like him. All right.
I still like him after 2 years, yes.
Well, we need to talk.
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding. Don, let's talk about, you mentioned a title for this, which is called Leadership Build. And you didn't tell me a thing about it. So let's talk about what Leadership Build is, and I'm going to guess you have something to do with it.
And it's Leader Build.
Leader.
So I obviously gave you the wrong name.
Okay.
Because I'm not a detail guy.
Yeah, I know.
Thankfully, my team is.
Yeah.
So leadership is one of those strange things that's sometimes hard to define.
Mm-hmm.
But as we sat around brainstorming what's needed in Spokane, among other things, is better leadership training for the people in business, in the ministry, in families, in civic affairs. And there really isn't at the moment.
Kind of the soul of our community.
Well, honestly,
Yeah.
if you think of leadership in a biblical sense, Christ is the head of the church.
Right.
Well, in a secular world, leaders are the ones that help people get to where they are supposed to go, right?
Well, theoretically, yes.
In theory. And as we looked around, we saw this as a need. There's lots of needs in the community. But Jan and Anthony Carollo and a number of other really bright...
Ooh, some real characters.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. We've had fun.
We have had fun.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We came together about 31 months ago with the idea that we needed to build a program that was Christ-centered around the leadership skills.
Uh-huh.
And Jan became the chief architect of this project.
Okay.
My role has been more or less providing office space, a whiteboard and coffee, and a schedule.
Is the coffee as good as ours?
Honestly, not really.
Okay. All right.
And I need to do something with Tom Sawyer because it's great coffee.
Yeah, it is.
We're thrifty, so sometimes we use less expensive coffee.
Okay.
But so when we came together, Jan...
Otherwise known as being cheap, but that's okay. I'm just giving you a bad time.
Thrifty
I'm
is
sorry,
good.
I'm getting us off the topic because this is important.
It is really important, and Jan has a background. So talk about your background and how this came together and the role you've played And more important, where we are now and what's happening right now.
Sure.
It's a lot.
I have a background in organization leadership development.
Okay.
So I've worked in large organizations in a number of different industries and moved over here in Spokane in 2010. Ended up, through God's leadership, on the board of Life Services of Spokane.
Okay, yes.
And I was concerned about the fact that we had few leaders in the organization and not a lot of money. So we really didn't have a way to develop the leaders.
Right.
And I started thinking about how we could collaborate across the city, across ministries, across businesses.
Right.
To have some really high quality leadership development for leaders in Spokane. And Anthony Carollo had a gleam in his eye at the same time. Don had a gleam in his eye at the same time.
Right.
So we started bringing people together, asking whether it was a good idea. And everybody we talked to said, absolutely needed, keep going, do it.
So when you did that, Jan, and you started the process, you went out and asked a whole bunch of people
We did.
what they needed in
Right.
terms of skills.
Right.
What did you
Okay.
find?
Yeah. One of the we separated that information according to whether people are in business or churches or ministries. One of the things we found was that there was a common need across all of those groups around the issue of holding people accountable.
Okay.
And we discovered more about specifically what church leaders needed or ministry leaders or business leaders, and we designed Leader Build around those specific needs. So if you are a business leader, when you walk into Leader Build, you know that you're going to get some specific skills and experiences that will help you to be more effective.
Okay.
Or a church leader or a ministry leader, you know that you're going to get what you need.
And the talent that you've recruited includes national level talent and regional and local talent.
We're really blessed. We have fabulous faculty, including Kevin Parker, including Jeff Suderman, who's a consultant down in California who focuses on foresight and strategy.
Okay.
Rodney McCauley's part of our team. Scott Rodin, who does Steward Leader. So we have just a really amazing faculty. Wayne Williams is part of our faculty.
Good.
And he has amazing experience, obviously, having led TELEC through a lot of different cycles.
Well, and he's a futurist. He thinks in the future.
He's also definitely a futurist, right.
And that's part of leadership, isn't it?
Yes.
Right.
I think it's an important part. And Don, you know the story of why we're doing what we're doing was because of Wayne Williams essentially saying get out of the 50s and 60s and start thinking toward the future, which is internet.
Yes.
Right.
And so I love that kind of advice, and because we all get in our own rut and what we know and what we've done in the past.
Mm-hmm. Well, and when you look at the YouTube channel for Spokane Talks Online, you've had episodes like the ones that I'm on that don't get a lot of hits.
Right.
You've had somewhere you've got 80,000 people watching.
Right, right.
You can't do that with a local radio or TV station. That scalability.
Right.
And so, and we've even talked about Leader Build being scalable, but I want to stick with the present now. So you've got a great...
We've got great faculty, and all of our faculty are followers of Jesus Christ who also have a real-world experience.
Yeah.
So this is very different from what you might experience in university education, where an expert is talking to you and you're maybe getting to apply it and you have a few assignments. It's very experiential.
Okay.
So our tagline actually is experience, collaborate, transform.
Okay.
So everything's very experiential. The collaborate piece is that when we surveyed people, they said the relationships that I build are really going to be the key takeaway for me.
Yes.
So we've designed it for a cohort of 48 people, but in between our gatherings, we call them, 8-person groups will spend time doing assignments and getting to know each other even better.
Okay.
And then transform is the final piece. So because it's experiential, because what I've learned through doing programs of this type, and this is not a program, it's an experience, is that when you layer on experiences and assessments and information and application and time to reflect, when you layer all those things together, you get a result that's greater than the sum of the parts.
Right, right.
Yeah.
And so the first meeting, that first gathering of 4 is going to be?
September.
And so it'll be September?
November, January, and March.
Of this and next year?
Of this and next year.
And if people want to register,
they can go to leaderbuildnw.org.
Okay. That's like Leader Build Northwest, but NW.
Right.
Okay.
And so, Ken, when you think about leadership programs, and there's some great programs out there.
Yes.
You can go to 2 of our local universities have leadership programs.
Right.
You're going to get
there's Leadership Spokane, and there are a number of things that individual churches do and so forth too.
Sure, but so the universities, first, they're going to cost 2 and 3 times as much as this.
Right.
They're academic in nature and in some cases theological in nature.
Right. Which means sometimes not practical because it's like out of a book versus
It's academic,
real life. Yeah.
And I don't want to criticize anybody.
I'm not being critical.
Leadership Spokane, which I've been through and many people have, is very much about the relationships and information, but it's not leadership training.
Yeah. Right.
This, you're going to come out of it with real world tools.
What's the target in terms of, because everyone talks about demographics today, what's the target in age?
There isn't one. Okay. We actually, our team that developed this includes millennials up through boomers.
Okay.
And when we had a discussion about whether we should specifically target younger leaders, say millennials, for example, the millennials on our team all spoke up and said, no, we want to learn from people from different generations. So it's more about whether you're a person who finds challenges in your work that relate to what we're offering and whether you're willing to learn and grow.
Right.
And there's a cost in terms of time.
Correct.
How many days total are people going to put into this?
It's about the equivalent of 2 weeks of learning. Okay. And it's our gatherings, the 4 gatherings, start on Thursday evening, run all day Friday, all day Saturday.
Wow.
Not super long hours.
Right.
We know that work-life balance is important, so we're not interested in burning anybody out.
Yeah.
Or separating them from their family too long.
But let's face it, like a vacation, though, you need some hours to get away from things, to start thinking more than I need to put out this fire or create that tomorrow morning, which we all do. Yeah. And leadership really is so important today. Let's look at if our businesses are going to be successful, if our family lives are going to be successful, our churches and synagogues and others too. So again, one last time, the website to get more information.
leaderbuildnw.org.
All right. Very interesting. Thank you. You were right. Great program.
I thought it would be.
Yeah, great. Thank you, Dawn, and thank you, Jan.
Thank you for having us on.
And we're going to take a quick break. We'll be back with Pia Hallenberg from the Spokesman Review right after this.
For the Inland Northwest most comprehensive sports report, think outside the porch with Spokesman.com. For just 99 cents for the first month, you'll enjoy unlimited digital access to the news and sports news that affect you most. From EWU to WSU, from Northwest Preps all the way to the Seahawks, we're the local authority that makes sports in the Inland Northwest different than the rest, better than the rest. On your phone, on your desktop, and on your tablet. Subscribe to the digital experience with Spokesman.com.
My name is Randy James. I'm the founder and director of the Institute of Science and Technology at North Central High School. Kids are far more capable than we ever give them credit. We have $1 million worth of equipment, and we let them use it. You give them a place to play and do science for real. Instead of having to outsource engineers and scientists and mathematicians, we have kids right here. It takes a whole community to raise children. It really does. STCU invests in the community, and they're a longtime supporter of education. Collectively, we can make a huge difference. I'm Randy James, and STCU is here for good.
You hear us say it.
We are tracking breaking news in Spokane County where firefighters...
We're talking exclusive.
I want to be the survivor and someone that reaches out and helps other people.
These stories you'll only see here.
My family's safe because he is off the streets.
This interview.
What is it like being a teenager nowadays?
This investigation. This moment for the first time.
I hope our apartment doesn't burn down.
We don't just cover breaking news, we own it.
Pretty scared, thought we weren't going to make it through.
KHQ Local News, right now.
Welcome back to Spokane Talks Live and one of our favorite segments, Pia Hallenberg from the Spokane Review. How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
I was kidding you during the commercial about you need to wear something bright and cheerful, but you do most times.
I do. I try.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry I was late today.
Is that partially to keep yourself awake?
No.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
So did you have deadlines today? Did you have meetings today? Did you have to retrain the staff over at the Spokesman?
No, I don't. I don't do much, staff training, but I have deadlines every day, I have more than one thing I need to take care of every day. Yeah. And the last meeting I was at just ran a little bit longer than planned, so I'm glad you could wait for me. I don't get a special time slot to come over here and do this. This is like if I can leave
you
the
can
newsroom.
Get away, yeah.
Yeah, I don't have anybody's blessings really.
And
so.
how many times have you gotten ready to come over and the world changes on you? It happens, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does happen. It does happen, but I don't like being late, so I'm glad you could wait for me.
Thank you. No,
it was.
You're worth waiting for. Okay.
Oh, thank you.
All
thank
right.
you.
So what's new? What story have you written or are you writing that we should be watching for?
Well, there's a lot of stuff going on in Spokane Valley right now. As you may know, there's a primary election coming up here soon, and there are 5 open positions on the Valley City Council.
Okay.
There were 9 challengers at the end of Friday when filing closed. 1 withdrew, and so we're down to 8.
Okay.
Pamela,
Does everybody have a challenger?
Yes, everybody who is up for, I'm trying to run down the list here. Everybody who is up for election has a challenger, yes.
Okay.
And Pamela Haley, for some reason, has 3.
Oh,
We're not quite sure why she attracted 3 candidates. And when I asked her about it, she said she wasn't sure how she got that fortunate. So she really has no, I don't know what the point is of.
And sometimes there is no rhyme or reason.
I wonder if it's a fluke. Like if you go on the site to register, you automatically register for her race unless you look for another one. I mean, I really don't know. So, So there will be a story coming out about what's going on in the Valley and brief introduction of all the candidates. The challengers, I should not call them candidates, challengers. The challengers are all first-time runners.
Okay.
Except for Ben Wick.
I was going to say, Ben, he was going to,
Except for Ben Wick, who was on the city council for 1 term. And he actually ran for the very first city council that they had out there back in 2003, when I think Ben is like 33. If I remember correctly. So that very first race he was in, I believe he was 18.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he is very committed. He's very committed to this. So
Trying to
we'll
pull
see.
a Mike Ormsby at 18?
No, I don't know. We'll see what happens.
That's great.
Yeah. And also, I don't know what's going to happen. Arnie Woodard put his name in the hat to become a county commissioner, replacing Shelley O'Quinn. And I'm not quite sure what happens if he gets that appointment. I'm assuming that you can't be a city council member and a county commissioner at the same time.
One is a full-time job, the county commissioner.
Well,
and then some.
Well, I'm pretty sure that in the state of Washington, you can't hold 2 elected offices at the same time.
I would think not.
So I don't know if that is also true if you're appointed to a position, but I'm assuming it's true. So there could be another open seat,
Oh, gee. Didn't we go through that last year?
Yeah, we did.
Okay.
Yes, we did. So, we'll just see.
It was like keeping tabs of who's on first and what's on second when you were coming in.
And it's complicated. It's complicated now because some of the terms are 4-year terms and some of the terms are 2-year terms because they're trying to stagger the council and they have to start over because everybody, lots of people left last year.
Yeah.
So that's been very interesting. What am I working on? I wish I could remember.
The raccoon? Did you do the raccoon?
No, the raccoon, he's just going to have to wait. I don't know. There's not a lot of push for the raccoon right now. I do get to do a story on the sheriff's department's training program that they have here. I get to do that. I hope we can swing that by Saturday.
Okay.
And then after that, I'm going to do another story about how difficult it's become to recruit law enforcement.
Yes.
I'm afraid I don't have a solution, but I do know that when there are lots of open positions. Yes. Part of the problem is there's a pay difference between Spokane Valley and the county.
Right.
And part of the problem is also that the job is not as attractive as it used to be.
Right.
For a variety of reasons.
Right.
There was a presentation in front of the Valley City Council 2 weeks ago. Some people from the sheriff's department were there and talking about the issues that they have, and they. There's a lot of blame on not the baby boomers, but the new generation, the younger people that, they don't want to work shift work and they don't want to do this and they don't want to do that. And I'm not sure if that is the biggest problem really, but they have to do something because they have to fill the jobs.
Yes.
And they're dangerous.
Our safety depends on it.
Well, and they're dangerous jobs.
Yes, they are.
So I'm not exactly sure specifically what the problem is, but it'll be interesting to talk to them about that.
How about the story on the water feature at Riverfront Park?
Oh, the request for information is going off today. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so you're going to get the details.
Yeah, I just, like I said, so what you were hinting at is the Rotary Fountain at Riverfront Park. Right. And I will just say again, because I've said it before, that I'm not trying to pick on Rotary.
No.
I'm just saying that I have a feeling that somebody bought a lemon. Yeah. Because there's been a lot wrong with that structure from the beginning, and I'm interested in finding out exactly.
I think we all are when you talk about the cost to maintain it over the years and the problems.
And now
there.
another $1 million.
Another $1 million.
Yes.
You start talking $1 million here and $1 million there, it becomes serious money.
Yeah, and I think there's, interestingly, the Spokane Valley is going through developing a policy for gifting.
Okay.
You know, what kinds of gifts can the city, receive?
Right.
And it's an interesting, people say, oh, well, just say thank you like your mom told you. Yeah, that's nice, but what if it's a piece of property that's contaminated?
Well, exactly.
You know,
you don't want to say thank you to a gift that keeps on giving
in
terms of cost.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to look into this. We'll see. We'll see what happens.
Thank you, Pia.
Yeah.
We're at the end of the program.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry I was so late.
That's okay. Thank you for coming over.
Thank you.
Say hi to everybody over at the Spokesman Review.
I will.
Okay. And we'll see you next week.
Spokane Talks Live is produced in Spokane, Washington by Spokane Talks Online LLC, which is solely responsible for its content. To recommend a guest or topic, or to see this program again, please visit our website, SpokaneTalksOnline.com. Spokane Talks Live is brought to you by our friends at Homes for You and Breakthrough Incorporated. Join us next Wednesday, noon, for another nourishing conversation on Spokane Talks Live.